right back to Aurora Shores we go today. After what was by far our most successful hunt on the map yesterday, I wanted to try and see if we could pick up where we left off and keep on looking for those 5-star trophies. So there is currently a herd of caribou here with, I think, 2 different matures, both 1-stars, which has most certainly been a theme of our hunts out here so far. So this is actually the 308. We don't use it as much anymore, but it is just absurdly powerful, probably even more so than the 30-06. It would be interesting actually to test that, but what I want to kind of focus on today is going through some of the darker areas on the map that we've not been to, as well as something we did a lot on Nez Perce, going to the question marks. It just kind of guarantees we're going to places that we don't visit often, and there's always that possibility that there's something good that's just been waiting on us. And I suppose if those caribou are just going to stop up there, we'll go ahead and try to get one of them. That's a mature as well. The genetics up in here are not so good, and I imagine this would qualify as primary habitat. I mean, this is a mountain, and the mountains is considered primary habitat for them. So ideally, if we work on this, we should be able to get a big enough caribou to hit 5-star one day. I didn't really intend to try to get that one, but now we've hit him a couple of times. Hopefully that gets him down. I actually don't know if it will. That will. Now that we've used up an entire magazine worth of ammo, we do have 3 caribou down, and I don't know if that qualifies as hunting animals in the same zone enough to potentially make them use another zone, but this isn't really the best place anyway, so I wouldn't mind if it did. The first one though, I mean, look at the difference there. There's almost no loss of energy all the way into the lung with the 308. I don't think the 30-06 does that. 57% as a 1-star mature for him. The, I guess technically 3rd one dropped there. And that's the 2nd one, which clearly wasn't hit as well. But that certainly is one way to get started. End up with 3 1-star matures, and I guess that first shot actually hit him in the leg? Although it doesn't even look like it did. Maybe it's actually through, yeah, just at the bottom of the stomach. But either way, a 36% mature. And I actually think the 2nd one, which hopefully has gone down by now, probably was the worst of the 3. I mean, just considering that one side, the near side to us, looks smaller than most youngs that we shoot. And this one, we were way back. We hit the artery that runs along the spine. I actually thought that shot was okay, though if we were lower, it would have been through the top back of the lungs. Regardless, 22% for him. And that is 3 very much subpar caribou taken out of the gene pool. And already, we have a discovery that we wouldn't have made without coming up here into the mountains where we had not yet been. There is a herd of bison just resting out here. I don't see any matures. I kind of think the 1-star adults with the really kind of small horns are probably okay to take. So we have the base game 300, the Steyr SM12. That one looks to have those small horns I'm talking about, so we'll try this. Try to get that right behind the shoulder. It really sounds better than the Remington. That's a mature. I just don't know how big it is, so we can't shoot it. We'll try to get an idea of what we're looking at. 1-star mature, so probably should have shot it. That was cool. A little bit kind of choppy, probably because it was at a distance, but typically we actually don't get to see the bison go down, but we'll kind of pay attention to where they go. Since they're dropping down over, there's a fair chance we'll be able to get eyes on them and get that mature as well. Now, to be 100% honest, I just don't know exactly what to look for with a bison yet, but I think the really small diameter horns on the 1-star adults are okay to take. I wouldn't necessarily just live by that, but nothing that I've seen has really led me to believe that's not the case. This is typically the genetic potential I see for horns this size, so normally I go ahead and take those out. I think we may have just taken a few too many steps running, because it looks like we sent that herd off again, but if they present a shot, we'll still try to get that one. That's him there, and I guess they're onto us? They're about 160 yards away, so if he's gonna stay there, that should be doable for the 300. In fact, no tracking needed. And honestly, the existence of that 1-star mature kind of makes me think this is a herd that we've never encountered before. Now, speaking of primary habitats, they do seem to be pretty well up here into the mountains, so this may not be a herd that ever would produce a 5-star, but I don't know 100% that they don't just kind of rest up in the mountains, but spend their majority of the time down, like, in the grasslands. So, for now, worth taking them out. There was one adult that had bigger horns, so maybe that's encouraging, but good to get a couple of weaker genes out of there, and we know for certain with this one, as a 1-star mature, he was never going to get that far, so a little bit better horns maybe than the adult. Just a left lung shot from the 300. I guess, again, the range really makes a huge difference with that bullet energy, but 40% good to get him out of the way. And we'll just continue forward, going to maybe another question mark up here. Thus far, at least, this is just consistently leading us to more and more animals. I think that may be a better option. It depends on if it's a young mature or still an adult. It is a 2-star mature. Honestly, though, like, looking at this particular adult and the fact that he doesn't have any palmation, I think actually we should take it out. So he is about 220 away, I think. That'll do from the 300. I don't think he is going anywhere based on that amount of blood. And we'll let the other mature go for now. Now that is another adult, I think. A lot of moose in this one little herd. Yeah, that's a 1-star adult again. I hate to just keep on focusing on, like, the same herd for multiple animals, so unless they end up presenting a really easy shot, we'll kind of let them go, but sort of good to know where they're at. Well, I don't know which one he was now, but they did just stop. Didn't take long to turn him back around, though, with the moose call. And if we had the crossbow, we could just about do that, but he's onto us. Not gonna be enough to get him away, though, so I guess if we're gonna call some weaker animals today, we're just gonna get everything from one herd to the next. 2 adult moose down here. One is, I think, right there. And then this guy, which he actually ended up being uneven, so of the 2 adults, he may have actually been the lower potential. Hard shot there with the SM-12. He was 47%, even that's not bad. Makes me think leaving the mature was probably a good idea. But I did think, at least from the angle we had, that this guy was at least even. That was a double lung and artery shot. Kind of lucky placement there, and he was 52%, so slightly better, and good to get both of them out of the herd. I don't know for sure that the 2-star mature would actually be higher fitness, but there's a chance, at least, the fact that he is a 2-star mature and still quite dark in color. So if you caught yesterday's video, you may remember this guy, a 3-star mature caribou that I had some pretty high hopes may one day hit 5. I can say with certainty that an aging cycle has occurred, and I'm very confident now he's not going to get to 5 stars. We're never going to shoot him, though, because his genetics definitely appear to be quite solid. I even think his rack has changed since we saw him, so, like, he's maybe grown, but not grown enough to reach 4 stars. So what I want to see, I think maybe they're kind of onto us, is if any of these other males actually come in. Another thing you may recall from that video is that there was only one young male in this herd, and through using the low fitness collar, we determined he was low fitness and went ahead and took him out. So the big question is, will any of these guys come in? I hope they don't, because that would then at least give me some confidence that this guy's genetics have been passed to all 3 of the new males that are here, and so far at least, kind of looking like that might be the case. He is just incredible to watch. I mean, the size difference between that and any, even like 2-star that you'll see is so different. He looks like a lot of the 4-star racks I've seen, so he must be right there. But I just don't think he's gonna be able to live long enough to get to 5. That said, none of these guys are coming in, so I think we've made pretty significant progress with this herd. So we'll let them go. And I mentioned the aging cycle that I know occurred. That may not have helped us with the caribou, but there was something special that happened as a result of it. Now we're getting a little somewhere. We have another 5-star Roosevelt elk, and this one I think is going to be even better than the last one. If we take a close look here, he's got really nice ivory tines. The last one had literally none of that, so it'll be some nice contrast in the lodge, but we did take one with the crossbow already, so I think we'll just go ahead and try to get this guy with the 300. I'd like him to stand up. We're looking about 200 yards away, so as soon as he does, we should be able to go ahead and make that shot. We could try to alert him, but actually, looks like he's going to do that on his own, so we'll just drop him in his tracks right there. Got a bit of a run to go on, but that is 5-star number 3 now on Aurora Shores, and I'm looking forward to seeing that in the lodge. I'd love to somehow put them side by side. Where we have that one, I don't think that's possible. There are multi-mounts for them. I kind of wanted to do the 2 elk fighting. The reason that I didn't was because I didn't know how long it would take till we'd get another, and one fighting the air would look a little silly in the lodge, but that might be the way to do it. As for our photo, far from the best we've done, but not too bad. And let's take a look at this guy. He was a 4-star mature in the last aging cycle, but he is pretty gray in the face, so I don't know if he had another year or so left. We actually just double-lunged him. I thought maybe we got a hard shot, because we kind of got that shot just in behind the shoulder perfect, but we're just too high to have gotten that. But a 95%, again, that is just about the same as the last, and a total score of 485, if I'm not mistaken. The other was a 484, so go figure. Couple of really nice elk, but again, this guy's antlers look far, far better, so be sure to text that. That's going to look really cool back in the lodge. So while it may feel monotonous to do some of what we've been doing today, shooting 1-star mature after 1-star mature, watching the best looking caribou we've seen thus far just walk out of sight and willingly let them do so, it is starting to pay off. We now have 2 5-star Roosevelt elk. I can't wait to put them in the lodge actually fighting, but I want to continue forward at least maybe till evening. There was, and I don't think I've had video of this yet, a 4-star Kodiak bear on our map. I don't have a clue where he drinks. I saw him like going between zones, and because that aging cycle happened, there's a chance he could be a 5-star now. You really don't see the age on bears much, so it's really tough to tell, but I want to at least give it a shot here during the Kodiak bear evening drink time, which should be starting. They're probably about on their way to the zones now, but in the meantime, we got a herd of Sitka out here, and I mean, being on the southeast island, there's a fair chance there's good genetics in it. And I would say 2 different 3-star mature bucks probably is good evidence of that. There's also a 1-star young. Now, I don't know if we can determine any age on them. They both actually look kind of brown, so we'll probably just have to pass on this opportunity and let them go, but that's good to know. We'll have to maybe try to locate their zone. All that time spent, we went through the entire evening and then into the morning zones. I just cannot figure out where that Kodiak might be, so there's a chance it died, there's a chance it's just living somewhere we haven't checked, but regardless, doesn't look like we're going to be running into him today, so I don't know which elk in here would be the best option. There's a pretty uneven 3-star mature up there, and then the other thing is, like this, I think it's an adult that's looking back at us, that looks to be a 1-star with the rack glitch, so we might take that one. Normally that does seem to indicate low genetics, so let's actually do that. That should be a fairly quick kill, I think. Blood looks pink from here. Interesting way he ended up dropping here, but kind of fitting, I think, that we ended up taking an elk to wrap up. That was a right lung shot that ended up being the kill shot. I feel like we just about had that right for a hard shot, but oh, we did hit it. There was just like no energy left. Regardless, 69%, so I don't know if that's going to help that herd or not. That is, I believe, the herd that we shot the 5-star with the crossbow from. And speaking of 5-star elk, I want to jump back to the trophy lodge. We've made quite a number of credits recently to be able to retax the first elk and put him in a mount fighting the new one. And I actually hadn't realized, because when you go to choose the poses, you can only see one at a time. But this is a really cool sparring pose they chose, and if we go around to this side, the one tine here does clip through the bull's neck, but other than that, everything is pretty clean. Actually, I do think got one going through the ear as well, so some slight adjustments wouldn't be the worst thing, but it actually ends up looking really nice, and at the very least, there is a difference in the tines. We obviously have the nice ivory tines on the newer one. I don't know if the rack is actually different, or if they're generally the same. They look to be the same. But I do think there are multiple 5-star racks, so that'll be something to continue working on, and shooting things like the elk that we just did will potentially help with that. But not too bad. That definitely fills out the upstairs a little bit more. I still think we may move that moose eventually, but for now he can stay there, and nice to get another 5-star out here on Aurora Shores. Hopefully, we're getting to a point where we'll be able to kind of see what we did on Nez Perce. Just in the process of aging things and waiting for things to reach 5 stars, we can maybe stumble into other species. But anyway, that is going to do it for this video. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.